We're getting into a conversation this hour, and our guest is here. He's been looked for years, and today is the day he decided to grant us the honor to at least have a conversation with him today. And so then now maybe he can explain to you why he's been unfindable. I have to remind you that Jesse Rogers is our guest host this morning as well. He's joining us to have this conversation. Senator Danson Mungatana.
Yes.
The Senator for Tana River County.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Ndu.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana, and good morning to our audience. I'm happy to be here. I have actually listened to very academic discussions taking place here. And sincerely, I'm glad to be here to also make my small contribution.
Well, we're thankful that you are. Like I said, it has been a very, very long time that we've looked for you. But we are glad that at least you've been found.
Thank you.
You're in the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you.
And let's see how that goes.
All right.
We normally welcome our guests with a proverb.
Yes.
CT goes around the continent.
Yes.
And he bags proverbs from different countries every week.
Yes.
And what we want you to do is listen to the proverb, tell us what you think about it and how you would interpret it.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Okay.
Proverbs for the whole of this week come from the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, formerly known as the Ivory Coast. You should not be frightened of a python because of its length. Let me repeat the proverb. You should not be frightened of the python because of its length. Begs the question, what then should we be frightened of?
Senator?
So I should not be frightened because of the python because of its length.
Yes.
I think for me it brings to me the idea that whatever the situation you are faced with, you should just plunge on. Don't worry. Focus on what you want to achieve and get there, irrespective of how the weather is looking like or how the situation is looking like. Yes, that's what it comes to me.
Oh, this is interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody would look at the python and think about its danger as opposed to looking at it as an opportunity to face what's in front of you.
Yeah, because many times you may not have, especially if you are in leadership, you may not see everything clearly sometimes, but you know what you want to, where you want to go. So you just keep on keeping on. You keep on showing up on the path that you choose.
Yeah.
And then eventually the mist clears and you're able to get where you want to go.
Indeed.
Yes.
Looks good. All right. Getting into our conversation for this hour.
Yes.
There are a number of things happening around the country. It would look as though we're going back into political season.
Yes.
Whereby development now is probably not the front and center of attention.
Yes.
We'll take this last weekend as an example. The Nyanza tour by the president, homecomings by new cabinet secretaries, and the likelihood of these grassroots political activities taking on another phase. And we come back and ask ourselves the question, we've been in political season for a very long time, and it still seems as though we are still there. When do you break the cycle of still trying to convince people of a particular position and get to work? And I think that's what we are looking at today. So why are we going back into these grassroots political activities all of a sudden? Senator, from your point of view,
yes,
let's go.
No, maybe there are two quick things I want to say. Kenyans must be remembering our former president, Mwai Kibaki. He was a man who used to operate from the headquarters in Nairobi here. And he did achieve a lot of things that we still talk about to date. But Kenyans also now are seeing another president who is out and above. He is out there doing this, launching and doing all that. Now, is it bad? Is Kibaki's style good? Is President Ruto's style good? Is Kibaki's style bad? Is President Ruto's style bad? From where I sit, I like to say that as a country, first of all, we must accept that we voted in a constitution that brings term limits with it. So every president we are going to choose will have a maximum of 2 terms. Some will do 1, some will do 2 terms. And we have sort of mirrored the American system of elections and governance. Now, I have read quite a bit of the presidents in the US, and each president has its own character. So Kenyans must accept that in our history, we will be electing very outgoing presidents. We will also be electing very quiet presidents. But is it bad? Is it good? I think it is a question of the electorate. They know whom they are electing. When we were electing President Kibaki, we all knew the kind of style he had when he was leader of opposition and when he was in as a president. We knew what kind of a man we are putting in there. When we elected President Ruto, we also knew the kind of a man we are putting there. So I think Kenyans must start accepting that going forward, we're going to have different styles of governance. Now, is it a good thing? We're going back to campaigns and whatnot. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think the jury is out there. Because I will tell you now, as Senator for Tana River, we were very happy to receive President Ruto in our area a few weeks ago. And I would say this, that one of the things the president would do when he takes the mic, he would say, I want to apologize for the first president, the second president, the third president, the fourth president, because we never came to your place. Okay? And people would cheer loudly. The president, when he came to Tana River, he came to 4 places. In one of the places, the last president who was there was President Moi, 44 years ago. And the other 3 places where he went, there has never been a president there. So when he comes and he tells us he has come to see us, to visit us, and to tell us his plans, then he says, Tana River, we must change Tana River from its earlier reputation of hunger, suffering, and war and conflict. We must make this county a very productive place, a food basket, because it has the land, it has the soils. So going this way, I have invested 400 million in irrigation scheme. Bura irrigation, we are going to expand it by 40,000 acres. Tana and Athi River development down there, the TDIP irrigation, Tana Delta irrigation program, the TDIP. We are also getting private, public-private partnership. And we've already seen it. Some production has started. People have gone back to work in the area. I have also come to start this water project in a place where the last stop was a place called Bangale. Now, Bangale town has had a problem with water. And I remember when we went to see the president and we were trying to map out where he would go as leaders of Tana River, the MP there said, we have a program, a project that has started that has not been finished, a water project. And I remember the president saying, no, we must make sure by the time I'm going there, that project, I'm going to launch it. And Bangale town actually received water when we were there. So I have got very fond memories, and the people of Tana River appreciate the fact that the president went there. In some of those areas, like we visited a school there, Ngao Girls, the road was not passable because the president was coming, the road was done very well.
Now I have a problem right there, Senator.
I know, but I'm just trying to tell you.
I understand what you're saying.
That when the president comes, it's I'm telling you as a man from the grassroots, we like it and we think it's a very good thing. argument can be put there.
Allow me to put the argument there, if you will, at this point, because
Yes.
the words that you just spoke,
Yes.
by nature of the fact that the president was coming,
Yes.
for two things.
Yes.
So that his vehicle could ply that route without a problem, whereby individuals, communities, families who have to use that road every single day are not cared for or catered for. Suddenly, Gafla Bin Vu, a contractor, appears from nowhere. Because the president is coming, they decide to fix the road. But the citizens for which this is supposed to be working, communities who have to take food from farm to market, individuals who have to go from their homes to work, children who have to go from their homes to school, have to use that road every single day. That is whom development is supposed to be working for. But then the president is coming to Tana River and you decide, oh, this will be an embarrassment. Let's fix the road. Do you not see a problem here? So when you come for these grassroots political activities and everybody says that the communities are happy to see the president, it's a flash in the pan, one day affair, he's gone. What happens after he leaves? And I think this is the problem. Why do we continually have those situations if the things that are supposed to be done at the grassroots on every level are not done? But then there's a kind of pretense that takes place because the president is coming to an area. We're letting people down. Why is that acceptable?
And your argument is making a lot of sense. But let me just say this. First of all, in that particular school, the president didn't use a car.
Oh, he flew in. Even
landed,
better.
He landed in a certain place, and it was near enough. He just walked and to the school and did what he had to do. So it wasn't really strictly for the president, but I'm saying that by his coming, there was that preparation. That still doesn't answer the question that you have put. Is it good or is it bad that things are hurried up when the president is visiting? I think from a grassroots point of view, I think I'm very happy to see things rushed up. Why I say so is, for example, when the president is going to, say, launch a road, you will find that ordinarily the leadership of that area is called to State House to discuss the program. The president is expected to be here, there. How do we plan? So obviously at that point, ordinarily as a member of parliament, as a senator, as a governor, and any person who is in elected positions, we have to keep pushing for our programs and projects, those which are started, those which are ongoing. But you'll find that, and this is the reality, that you can go to office after office pushing for a project, and you see it takes so long. But when those officers know that the head of state is going to come into that area, and they know, for example, that it was a topic of discussion in State House. For example, if there is this water project, for example, or a bridge or something that needed to be done, and we are saying maybe next month the president is coming, when I go now to sit with the PS, or the minister, I would tell him, look, we've been talking about this thing. You haven't pushed it now. The president is coming. Do what you need to do to make sure that it happens.
And that's my problem, Senator.
So
because there are
the problem?
This is my problem.
Yes.
That there are hundreds of thousands of Kenyans
Who
need that bridge every day.
Yes.
And look at your position as a senator in a position of oversight. To ask the questions about why is this thing not working the 364 days of the year. It's not working. It's not working for Kenyans. The bridge does not exist. The road does not exist. The water project that could benefit Kenyans is not functioning. But the one day, so that we can pay lip service or eye service to the president, that he is coming, suddenly the contractor is found. Suddenly funds are available. Suddenly a road will be finished. It's an injustice and a disservice to Kenyans.
I would put it this way: it is, saying it's an injustice, and it
sounds hurtful.
No, it's correct.
It's the truth.
By the way, it's correct.
Yeah.
But it's one way of looking at it. I would look at it like hurrying up the process. You see, it's a way of hurrying up the process. Why? Because the boss of them all the heads of the ministries and whatever, the boss of them all is the president. So when you go now and tell somebody like, look, the president has mentioned this, it tends to hurry up. So is it a good thing that he's coming and it is happening, or is it a bad thing that he's coming and it's happening? I think the jury is out there. But for me as a leader, if I know I've been pushing for a road and it's not being done, or the contract is not being signed, and then the president is about to come, maybe he's coming next month, and everything falls into place, I would just say that the system is inefficient, okay, like you say, but it is positive that he has come because it has hurried up the system. So from my point of view, obviously hurrying up the system so that I achieve something for my county is a good thing.
The boss of them all.
But I agree.
The boss of them all is the people. The people are the sovereign. The people is whom, in my opinion, and maybe you can give some insight to that, is whom those who are the worker bees in the system ought to be sure that they serve.
Correct.
The president is not the boss of them all. The president is serving the people.
It's true, but our lived experience.
And the experience, exactly, shows that we've inverted that sovereignty.
Yes.
So much so that we don't even see that we should be serving people like communities.
Yes.
And that we say that when a project is uncompleted and the president is coming to the grassroots for a visit, then we think the boss of them all is coming. The boss is living in the communities. The person that we should be serving is going to school in those communities, is looking for clean water in those communities,
Correct.
is looking for health centers and schools that function in those communities.
Correct.
But we've inverted the sovereignty. How then do you look to make sure oversight happens or works when we don't even know who we should be giving the priority in terms of attention?
I want to say something here.
Yeah.
What we're saying is absolutely true, but there's the unfortunate reality of what we have lived through and what we've learned to accept.
Yeah.
And the citizenry is the sovereign, and our constitution states it clearly. But the citizenry don't seem to know that. And if they know it, they're not sure that it's true. They prefer to hang on to what has been believed before, that the Bwana Mkubwa, the Mheshimiwa, is the one who will bring development, to put it simply.
Yes.
And if the president comes, then development follows. But I cannot actually say that I would blame the citizenry, because the president talks development wherever he goes.
Yes.
And he talks bringing development. And he talks money that has been set aside. Because he says it is assumed it is him who sets it aside. And that it is him who decides exactly where it goes, because that's the messaging that is heard. Now, let me ask, what portion of Tana River is not fertile?
There's the arable land, and there is the land that is not arable.
It's not a desert?
It's semi-desert.
Semi-arid.
Yes.
Semi-arid can be farmed.
Correct.
Tana River is fertile. Tana River has water. Tana River should have been the breadbasket of this country a very long time ago.
You're right.
Why has it not?
Okay. I think, let me just say this, that in this country, Bwana Muga,
yes,
there has been very skewed resource allocation. And it is informed by even the way we got independence. This country has been discriminating against us. And it is a fact that in 1965 session of paper number 10, which was brought by Tom Joseph Mboya, the then economic planning minister, said that was 1965, 2 years after independence, that we are going to invest in high potential areas. Okay? So there was a policy from the very beginning of this, the birth of this nation, that they would discriminate Tana River County Isiolo County, Garissa County, and all those other counties,
Marsabit,
and those areas that are far off, Lamu included.
Yes.
Okay, so not just the northeastern, but even the far north coast, like ourselves.
Yes.
So it is a shame that that mentality has continued for so long. And we are trying to fight and change that mentality, because it is as a result of that our people many years ago, they would say, hey, naenda Kenya. Naenda Kenya. He is in Tana River in Kenya, but he's saying naenda Kenya. Why? Because where he's going, that's where there is street lights, that is where there is everything else. So there has been a very sad situation in this country, and my prayer is that over time these things will change. And we, for example, in Tana River, saw in our county headquarters, Hola, for the first time, a tarmac road when devolution came. You know, we used to see tarmac roads when we go up coast, you know, like towards Malindi. Some counties like Lamu, they still don't have a tarmac road. So let us say that to answer your question, there has been a deliberate discrimination against the people of Tana River, and my prayer is that this changes. And you know, the sad thing is we take a beating twice. Look, the river Tana, which you have mentioned, it comes from up these mountains, and it goes down towards the delta down there.
Up to the Indian Ocean.
Yes, up to the Indian Ocean. So they would block it so that we can get electricity for the rest of Kenya.
Except
us. So for a very long time, we didn't have electricity. Actually, Garsen constituency got electricity when I was then a member of parliament. And I still thank Honorable Ochilo Ayako to date. And I remember when I was just elected, and Ayako was then Minister for Energy. And he was one class ahead of me in the old Alliance High School. So I went to him and told him, my friend, I have a problem. I want you to help me. We have no power in electricity in Garsen. He said, you don't have power. I said, I don't. And you're the Minister for Energy, you are going to give me power. So he said, okay, let us make a meeting for next week. I will call those guys here. So Kenya Power bosses, what they were called, and we went. When we sat there, the minister said, I don't want to hear stories. I want to know, when are you giving my friend power? You see, and those were many years ago. And they told me, can you take I think 133 kV, something like that, a step down. They told me we have plans to send power to Lamu, those big pylons, but it's going to take time. I said, no, I don't want that story.
The one you have.
The one you have. So they say, okay, we can do a step down from Malindi to your, and that is when we got power in my constituency. I mean, we have been discriminated for so long. But then, this is the funny side of it. They blocked the river, they didn't give us power, but when there is a lot of rain and flooding, they release the water. Kengen releases the water, and we are flooded down there. You get, so we are punished twice. We are not given the power, and then we are released water as a punishment for I don't know what's wrong with this country. You know.
Well, Jesse's been taking notes. Jesse's been taking notes. And
Yes.
I think at the end of it, he has come up with a couple of questions that he's going to throw at you.
Yes.
I think just following up on CT's question, because it definitely opened the Pandora's box in terms of the discrimination over time that Tana River, including the northeastern counties, have faced. And I think it begs the question, how exactly are we changing that narrative?
Yes.
Because devolution has been touted as the best way to bring pesa mashinani.
Correct.
So in your role as oversight, Bwana Senator,
Yes.
is devolution truly bringing those benefits?
Okay, Jesse, let me say that there are two levels to answer that question. The first one is at the national, and then the second one is at the county level. At the national level, something is happening. I cannot deny. For example, now, with the coming of this new president, now he's not new anymore, President Ruto, one of the first things he did was to fly to Galana Kulalu. Galana Kulalu, about 70% of that whole scheme is in Tana River County. About 30% is in Kilifi County. So he says, we are going to restart this project. We are going to make this project productive. And you know what has happened? Power, I was there about 10 days ago with the private partner, because a private partner has been identified. Government is supposed to do power, is supposed to do the tarmac road, is supposed to do a bridge, and they are doing it. Actually, I witnessed. So is something being done at the national level? Yes. So there's some form of an address, and then that place, when it is opened up, it will employ so many people, and the area is going to be highly productive, because the private partner has done some pilot studies, and he has produced 35 bags per acre, which was very, very good.
Is that timeline we're looking at in terms?
Yes, because when we were there, he explained to us. They explained to us that they are moving in. They are now moving in because the funds and everything has been put together. So far, they have put in, them as private partners, they are putting in about 1.4 billion, and they're saying over a period of 30 years, because that is the lease they have been given for the land, they plan to put over 20 billion in terms of injecting capital to that area. So that is one area. Then there is the Tana TDIP project, Tana Delta irrigation project down, which is owned by the Tarda. That one, again, a private partner has been identified. So at the national level, again, you can see, the private partner has started harvesting. So people are doing good business there, already starting to do good business. And then Bura irrigation scheme is another place where we used to have problems with the water, because all the time the farmers are saying the water is not enough. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's not enough. But it was because of the machinery and the engineering that were outdated. Now the government has put in money, and we are opening up about 40,000 acres. So in terms of the national government, something has happened and is happening, and we are hopeful that the past is being corrected, although it will take time, but it's being corrected slowly. At the county government level, we've had two governors. The first governor and currently the second governor, who is doing his second and last term. Now, have we done a lot locally? I can't say.
I think it's an obvious answer.
Because you can see even these ratings that came out just the other day. We've not done very well. And my prayer is that our people will get the correct people in the correct places.
Grassroots,
yes.
Of course, which is where development spurs.
Yes.
And it essentially spawns there, and then you can see it on a national level because it happened at the grassroots.
Yes.
And one would hope that with all the talk that we see happening at the grassroots, that is going to then find its way through, and the projects that are being launched. I mean, we all know, we can see, whether you want to talk about people who've gone around and some of these very same projects that you talk about being launched.
Yes.
We can see those who've gone around and are doing the due diligence and saying, look, this was launched 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, and we don't see any movement. We know Auditor General, every time she releases a report, there are reports of development projects that should have started, for which money was spent, but we don't see the project and we don't see the money. It is too often a tale of things that are going on in Kenya for a nation that should be punching well above its weight on the development agenda. it is not happening. And this is not a political question. It is a fact question. Why do we not see as much effort and as much money is being put into these things to raise the profile of some parts of the country? Why don't we see the end goal? One. And then why don't we hear loudly from folks such as yourself who should be asking the questions about why money is being spent on things we do not see with as much fervor as these grassroots political activities are taking place? Why? Why?
It's a tough question because I hold the view that more can be done by all of us from our different positions. And it is especially sad that every year when the Attorney General, not the Attorney General, the Auditor General gives the report, we don't see any form of charges being presented in court. We don't see asset recovery. We don't see people paying the price. So then the argument is that whatever the Auditor General has presented needs to be processed through Parliament, that is the National Assembly, and we also play a certain role, although ours is focused on the counties. Now, still, you see, let me just talk about our role as Senate in the oversight.
Yes.
We don't do primary oversight. We do secondary oversight. In this sense, the county assembly is supposed to carry out primary oversight, so that projects that are happening, they are supposed to call the cabinet, not the cabinet secretary, but the CECs, the ministers at that level, to ask them questions about the water project, the hospitals. They're supposed to put the accountability on those guys there first. We, as a senator, I'm supposed to push the governor. And this is how it happens. First, we are the ones who fight for the money to be allocated to go down to the counties.
Yes.
So once the equitable share has left Nairobi to the county government, it is the governor, the law says it's the governor who organizes how that money is supposed to be spent. But even him, he doesn't have power to spend the money. He has to take it to the county assembly via the budget process.
Yes.
And they are the ones who then, they of course have to improve it. That's why there's always push and pull. Then it comes back and it gives the governor the check to the power to write the checks. Then it comes to us now through, at the secondary level, through the Auditor General's report to us. And that's when we summon governors from various counties through the Senate Public Accounts Committee and also in other committees to put them into account. Why is this happening? Why is this not happening? And so on. We do that that's what we do in committees. But again, the Senate does not have powers of arrest. The Senate does not have powers to put anybody, to tell him, refund this money. We think that you have stolen. The Senate doesn't have those powers. So there are agencies which are supposed to carry out those functions. So what we do, we recommend, we say, Governor, in this year, this person ought to be investigated, arrested, and charged. Or this person needs to refund this money, or there was no information on this, so there was misuse of public office. And remember, at the Senate Public Accounts Committee, we sit there with ESCC represented, and they have first-hand information on that report. But again, even after strong recommendation, you will find that nothing really moves. Because again, the ESCC will tell you, we have finished investigations, we have passed the file to the office of the DPP. So the ODPP is supposed to be the one that clears for people to be charged.
Is Senate allowed to remind the ODPP that certain things are supposed to happen? Because the role, like you say, whether it's secondary oversight, it sounds to me as though it's a rolling oversight.
Correct.
That you don't do oversight on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes.
That oversight takes place so long as there is a Senate.
Yes.
So you knowing full well that this case is there, or that there's a question here about 150 billion shillings that was supposed to be used for development, for example, it doesn't happen. I'm going to go back to the Galana Kulalu project. This is not the first time, for example, that we've heard about Galana. We had a sitting ambassador from Israel who left the project, left the country, and said that never in his lifetime had he seen something like that. And he did not want to be operating in that space again. We didn't talk about the money lost for Galana. We didn't ask about where did it go. Nobody said, okay, we need to deal with this. A sitting ambassador, something that has never happened before, left the country. Kenya, on its own recognizance, did not ask questions about what happened here. But what are we seeing? A revival of the same irrigation project. Nobody's asked questions. Nobody says, where did that money put in go? Nobody asked what were the products of that. But now it's being revived and it's being done all over again. Such cases that should be brought and questions asked. My question then is, Senate is a rolling, the senatorial oversight position is a rolling process. So it sounds as though when that file, if you're aware of it, goes to ODPP takes it to court, and it sits there, it gathers dust. Nobody asks the questions about how far is this case, how does it go? We just say, well, we've done our part and we've left it there.
I think the question you're asking, who oversights the oversighter?
Yes.
Now, this is where difficulties come in within our constitutional arrangement. The office of the deputy of the office of the ODPP is an independent office that works without direction from anybody. So all you do is maybe to ask, what have you done about it? But again, look at it. We deal with this in cycles. You have accounts for, say, the financial year 2021, 2022, then 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024, and so on. Or even financial year audit reports coming from different financial years that are very dated. So when you come and you have presented this, it has left your desk as a committee of the Senate. We have dealt with this matter. We have made our recommendation. It has gone to the ESCC. Now ESCC also say we have done our bit. We have taken to the ODPP. So who traces this movement of the file to ask why is this matter not in court? Or even sometimes the ODPP has sent it to court. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has sent the matter to court, and then it is in court for 10 years. Who is it that comes to make a question? What is happening to other? I think that question is a question that we have been grappling with, and I think there's a systemic failure there, because the justice you are looking for is being delayed, and therefore, from a public perspective, it's being denied. Let me say this, that tackling corruption needs political will, a very strong political will. And unless there is a very strong push, for example, like when I remember the first time we got elected and Mwai Kibaki was in office, I remember people getting out of a bus, following a police officer, a traffic police officer, and telling him you're not going to take a bribe. And there was literally fear of trying to do the wrong things at that time, and the euphoria was so strong that we are gonna fix this country. We are gonna do things proper. But then it goes, after some time, the steams run off, because the system is not perfect. Like you even if you arrested that person, like he's taking a bribe, it is not up to you to charge him. It's not up to you to sentence him. It's not up to you even to handle that case. So even if we have a citizen's arrest, the kind of constitution we have chosen, the democracy and the freedoms, we have to accept that systems are not perfect and it takes time. But yes, I will play my role as a senator. I will make my recommendation, and the other agencies of justice must play their role. That is how our constitutional setup is. Unless now we're talking about overhauling the whole thing, so that we say, senators, once you find that there's a misuse of money by the governor, you can order the arrest. Now, immediately you have a problem with the Constitution. The Constitution will say the man has to be given, right to be heard, has to have representation, you have to draft proper charges, you have to go through investigations. So now, if the Constitution is saying that even that person has rights, then I think we have to, Kenyans have to accept that we will play our role as senators, but agencies must play their role, and the courts must also play their role. Even the lawyers, the prosecutors must play their role, because sometimes if proper evidence is not presented again, they will defeat the system, they will be acquitted.
If you were to answer honestly, Senator,
yes,
do you think the system, as it's currently constituted and as it's currently operating, is it working? If you were to answer honestly, I repeat.
Yes, I'm answering. I'm trying to answer you that it is very similar to that development project question that you're asking. That the president is coming. This road was supposed to be fixed for a long time, blah, blah, blah. The contracts haven't been signed, but because he's coming next month, because he's coming next 2 months, the contracts are signed. There's a political force. So the system is there. It's supposed to work on its own, but there's got to be some force from somewhere. And that is why I'm saying the system as it is now is very similar to it's very parallel to what you are saying. That cases are there. Like if today we go to the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, he will tell you there are many cases which are ready to go, but you know. If you go to EACC also, there are many cases, but you know. So if there is political will, and I am repeating, if there is political will to push. Because, a road is like a development project. Now, cases of corruptions are also like a development project. If there is push, very high push, then we will see some changes. So the system itself is not bad. It's not broken, but it needs a push. This is what I'm saying. And, this is why choosing leaders has its own consequences. If you chose a leader who has come on the basis that is going to fight corruption, and he gets successful, because again that is a very strong fight. But assume that we elect a president, or assume we elect a governor at the county level who is saying, I'm going to get rid of these cartels, I'm going to do this, and I don't care even if you make me a one term. Then I'm telling you, things will change. Things will change. But unfortunately, to make these things, move faster, to make these things move faster, the system is there. But to push the system to production, it will take time. So from where I sit, and we have said this very many times as senators, let us have one governor arrested this Friday, okay? And the charges are displayed. This money was missing, there was abuse of office. He's charged. We are not saying he is convicted, but he's charged, he's taken to court. Then we wait. Next week on Friday, let us have another one arrested. Okay? Then we wait. The next week, let us have another one arrested. Let me tell you, people will go back and ask themselves, do I want to be the next?
Do you think it will serve as a deterrent?
yes, I'm telling you, things will start to change.
Okay, I want to bring to your attention, and of course you have seen it, because even as our minutes wind down, some of the other things that happen away from the glare of daylight.
Yes.
The airport, a restricted security area,
yes,
for the national government, is now being operated, designed, constructed, managed, authorized for the next 30 years by an external group.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that?
I know that matter is pending before the Senate.
It is coming to you.
Yes. And the relevant committee, the transport committee, is going to deal with it. But my own thoughts, there is, let me say, a very delicate balance between efficiency and national security. Yeah. Now, I want, and let me just go use the example of Tana River. I want to put Galana Kulalu, for example, is 1.75 million acres. I want to make Tana River completely productive, the food basket of this country. Maybe as a president.
You want to do that, or you're just giving examples?
I'm giving an example.
Okay.
I would do that if I was a president.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I'm giving this as an example that I want, as a government, we want to make food security a priority, for example. And we have identified Tana River County, it has land, small population, so we are going to make it work. But then you go back to your budget and you look, agriculture, this money is all gone. We don't have money for the development. Vote is very minimal. So then what do you do as a president? You go look for partners who will enter into public-private partnerships. And that is the thing. Now, if you bring somebody like maybe somebody from China, somebody from the US, somebody from wherever, to come and farm that land at a profit, are we doing the correct thing? Are we exposing the country to national security issues? That place is so vast. What if they are landing planes and doing their own thing, and we have already given them the lease? Now, transfer that example to the airport.
Okay. I was going to ask you to land that plane, but okay.
I've already landed it now. Transfer that example to the airport.
Yeah.
The airport needs massive infrastructure investment. I was in Rwanda the other day, and Kagame is not joking. There is a huge airport that is being constructed. It's going to rival the one we have in Nairobi. And Nairobi, we know, is a hub of transfers and whatever in East and Central Africa. But then Kagame is doing a very big one with the support of
the
partners.
Qataris. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I'm looking at Kenya. We want to move forward. We want to make our airport very competitive, so that, and very, very profitable. Now, how do we do it? Because we don't have the budget for it.
100 billion shillings Kenya does not have.
We don't have the budget for it. That's the reality. So we can do this. We can hold on and wait, slowly raise money through taxes over time, and make little improvements. Or, because our neighbors are also competing with us, we can ask for partnership, like the way we have done in Galana Kulalu and other projects. Now, when you are calling somebody to take, let's say, one berth to run at the port in Mombasa, KPA maybe is entering into a partnership such as that one, and they're saying this berth is going to be run by a private operator. Now, that private operator, when he comes there, he will come with conditions, and normally those conditions are not, that berth will not be operated like a government berth. Okay. So there is always that balance. Sometimes it's national security, like port. Yeah. Do we allow a private operator to operate a berth in the port? What if they are bringing things, illegal things? Same thing. These questions are going to be asked about this Adani deal. Yes. So for me, what do I say? I say we need to balance, and the balance shall be that there must be a lot of public participation. There must be transparency in this deal. Don't go and do things in the dark.
Okay.
Let the workers know what is happening. Let the management know what is happening. If they support it, go along with them. If they don't support it, then put it aside. Let us accept that we are going to be developed maybe 30 years later or 40 years later.
Okay.
Rwanda is going to catch up with us. We are going to be left behind or pass us, you know.
All right.
So that's my general thinking. That let's not be too suspicious, but let the government also be completely transparent.
Senator of Tana River County, Danson Mungatana, has been our guest this hour. Thank you for being here. Definitely, these conversations must continue.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.